Hello, lovely people. Welcome to Dupi Animations. And today we are going to be looking at Voronoi fracture in Cinema 4D. You see the media animation that is playing? It was done with Voronoi fracture. Okay. Then later on, I did the arrangement in After Effects. All right. Okay. So in this tutorial, I'm just going to demonstrate how I use Voronoi fracture to break the flaw in the animation. All right. And please, if any of you like any of my tutorial templates, you can request it here and it will be posted onto the Telegram channel for you to download. All right. And I'm going to be using Cinema 4D R18. Okay, so let's start. So we have Cinema 4D open here. Okay. How I did the animation with the floor shattering. That's what we are going to create here. Okay. It's just a simple process. All right. So first, let's create our polygon. So I'll select a box here or a cube here, okay? Then scale it down, right? Let me scale it up here to a bit. Okay, let me move it up. Compress it a bit more, then up more. So I'm coming. Let me change the display to grad shading lines so that we can see the lines within it, okay? So I have this box here, all right? Now let me create a floor for it. So I'll come here and select floor, all right? So with the floor selected here, right click on the floor, then come to simulation tags, then select collider body. So that's going to be our floor, all right? Then you come to the menu bar, then under MoGraph, select MoGraph, then under MoGraph, select Voronoi fracture. Okay, so with our Voronoi fracture selected, click and drag the cube into the Voronoi fracture. Okay, so the cube becomes a chart to the Voronoi fracture. All right, so you see that once I drag it into it, you see the surface of the cube being fractured here. All right, but there's nothing happening yet, but you see it being fractured there. Okay, now select the Voronoi fracture, then under Voronoi fracture sources, click the point generator distribution, click on it, then it says here point amount. That's 20 here. So you can decide to make it 30 or 100. So the 100 is okay. Let's leave it at 100, or let me just leave it at 100 for now. Okay. So we have distribution type here. It says uniform. Change from uniform to normal. Okay. So that everything will be gathered in the center there. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to use a simple cube to do the animation as the one that's landed on the floor there. Okay. So let me create another cube. Squeeze it down. Let me scale it down. Okay. Something like this. All right. Now let me move it up here. Somewhere here is okay. All right. So this stick or cube here will be the one. All right. Okay. Now right click on the Voronoi fracture. Then come to simulation tag and select rigid body. Okay. So under rigid body, which is the dynamic tag beside the Voronoi fracture here, click on it. Then come to, let me see, collision, bounce amount. Let me go something like 60. Let me leave it to 60 for now. Okay. Let me leave it to 60 for now. Then select the cube on top, right click on it, then under it, come to simulation tag, rigid body. Okay. Then on it, dynamic tag, click on it, then come to where it says automatic under collision, change from automatic to static mesh. Okay, so let's do a simple animation here. From here, 25 frame, you end the animation there. Let's click on ending key, then 10 frame per second. Let's move it upwards. Okay. Then set a key. So let's play it and see what we have first. Okay. All right. So you see, simple. So that's how the Voronoi fracture works. Okay. So that's an example. But when it comes to the arrangement that I did, let me show you just how I went about my arrangement. Okay. Because with the previous one, you see that when the cube landed in the middle, although it shattered, but there wasn't that much of a force. But in my animation, because the one was coming from a far away, carrying a force, when it landed and it shattered the floor, there were particles spreading all around. Okay, so let me try that one for you to see. Let's come to the menu bar, click on MoGraph and select Mode Test. Okay, now come to it, test attributes, then clear the test and type 1 there. All right. Okay, now let's choose a good font. Let's select something like Arial Rounded. Then let me increase the size to something like 400. All right, I think I should center, let me center it in the middle. Okay, now the depth at 40. Let me give the depth 40. Okay. Okay, now let's create the floor. Select the cube, scale it down, then stretch it a bit. Let me stretch it a bit. Okay. A bit more. So I think this is okay. Now let me duplicate the cube for the second floor. I think in the, let me move it up first. In the animation, there were 2 floors. Okay, so the second, the duplicated one, let me bring it down and scale it up, stretch it a bit more so that you will see the difference within it. So that when the top one shatter, some of the particles will fall onto the second one. All right? Okay. So let me adjust the top one a bit more. Okay. All right. I think this is okay. This is enough. Let me position it well. Now let me create the floor. So with the disk selected, let me give it something like 1500. Then I think this is okay. Okay. Let me change to lines and see what we have here first. If there is an adjustment to be done, we do it. Let me adjust the one a bit more. Now let me go back to its original shading. So I think what we have here is enough. Now let me increase the frame. Now let me set the animation first. So let me set the first and ending key for the one, then move the timeline backwards. Okay. Now with the timeline move backwards, let me move that one to the back, then set the ending key. Then give it a rotation of 600, it's okay. Then the middle there, I think I should push it up so that when it rotates from the back, when it reaches here, there will be some ups there before it comes and lands on the floor. Okay, so you see, let's see what's, so the beginning, let me make it disappear. So 0, 0, let me say 0, 0 so that everything will disappear. So let me see what I have here first. This is how I set it up. Okay. All right. So now that we have this, and let me name the floor and give it a dynamic collider body. Okay. Now the second one, to come to simulation tag and select rigid body, then automatic, let me make it static mesh. All right. Now let's go for the Voronoi fracture from the MoGraph. Okay. So with the Voronoi fracture selected, drag the top cube into it. You see that once I drag it into it, everything looks fractured there. Now select the Voronoi fracture and come to the sources, click on the point generator also, then increase the point or the division to something like 250. Then set from uniform to normal. Okay. All right. Now select the motors, then give it also a rigid body and make it static mesh. Okay. So I think we are good to go here. So the Voronoi fracture, make it also a rigid body. Then that's all. So now let's see what we have. Is it that simple? The force that is driving the one, once the one lands, it shatters the floor. You see, it breaks the ground there. All right? So this is just a simple animation. Okay. So basically, I think we are done here. So this is how I set the 3D version. Let me show you the work. You see, this is the actual setup here. Okay. So this is my actual setup. All right. You see that it's not difficult. So after I've done this, I rendered it and took it into After Effects, then added the grass or the forest behind it. Okay. So you see. So now let's open After Effects. So you see it here. So I just set the forest behind it, then set a camera through, then render the 3D version, the 3D part, then use it to end it. Okay, a simple animation. Oh, and please, if any of you have interest in any of my project file, you can make a request here, then it will be posted onto the Telegram channel for you to download. All right? Okay. So you see, so I think this is an extended version of the animation. You see? Then the 3D part will come and end it. Simple. Okay. So this is the short version. All right. So now I think let's go back to the C4D also. Come in. Okay, let's go back to the C4D. So yeah, the one that I was doing, you see, let me try to apply just a simple material to it and let's see how it turns out. So I have some floor material here that I will upload. Okay, now let me apply it to the floors and see. Left with the floor. Okay. Let me play it first and see. All right. Okay, I think this is okay. Let me try to apply some lights and see. Let me see. Let me just apply the lights and see how it turns out. Let me go for the array. Let me increase the radius. Then maybe make it something like 4 copies or so. Let me see. Let me give it a shadow here. Then let's see. I think simple. So you see how it looks like. Let me reduce the number of lights again. It's just a simple animation. All right. So you see that it's not difficult. So basically, the major player here is the Voronoi fracture. Okay.